Good morning, everyone. This is the Kubeflow CNCF graduation call on 12th of August. This meeting will be recorded and published on YouTube. This meeting is governed by the CNCF Code of Conduct. So we have a few things today to talk about. Do I have any new people here? I just want to say hello on the call. I don't see any folks. Yeah, but feel free to unmute yourself if you're new, if you just want to say hello and just introduce yourself. Otherwise, we just get started. All right. So yeah, we just maybe go over the updates we've done over the last, I think, 2 weeks for the graduation. Um, so I think before maybe we can talk about. So do we want to first of all talk about questions or give an updates?
I think probably anything that's blocking is probably the first question, right? So like what's
Yeah. So like one thing I want to talk about with you, George. I know there will be kind of sort of feedback from CNCF on the governments of the projects, right? And I know, like for example, for other projects, the CNCF was doing this. Is there any way for us to um, start getting this feedback before we open an application? So at least we know like what we need to do in the meantime, in the parallel that when the security audit is going on.
Yeah, isn't this the purpose of that review Slack channel?
Yeah.
Are we still doing that? Or are we
Yeah. So for general technical review, yes, I definitely will pass this doc
okay?
to the Slack channel. But outside of this, I know that Bob, for example, has done some reviews for OpenTelemetry. I think KCR folks like Johan was telling us that some of the changes CNCF suggests them to do, they addressed during
Right.
this evaluation process. Um, yeah. So what about us? Like, is there any way for us to in parallel do this work?
Yeah, and it's my understanding that it's not just the GTR in that Slack channel. That's everything.
Hmm.
Like you can ask all of the questions, not just the GTR
are you
ones.
talking about the public one or this other one?
No, I think it's a public one. It's something. Oh, 1 second. Hold on.
Kubeflow-graduation or something else?
No, it's a general channel for
CNCF
everybody.
project review you're talking about.
Yes, that's what it is. CNCF-project-reviews. I think our issue was last time I talked to Bob and Karina, we're a little bit backed up. There's going to be a bunch of noise
So is
in
this
there.
in response to that specific question? I'm not even in that channel. Yes.
Yeah, in this channel material.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. Cool.
Yeah. So the reason we started with the GTR is because that process was brand new, and it was like we were expecting to ask a bunch of questions about it, but that channel actually covers everything in your application.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where's that? Is that for the? Okay.
Like once you join, just scroll up, Matthew, and then
Yeah, discussion.
yeah,
I actually am already in it apparently.
You'll see us in there. Yeah.
CNCF project.
So I think my only question is here, just like I think we're almost done with the GTR and we complete this self-assessment. So like for example, I can give you like the particular, like example that I saw like from Bob, right? So talking about this PR for OpenTelemetry, right? So this is kind of like the government's review for OpenTelemetry. And I know that it will take time for CNCF to complete. So is there anything we can do in the meantime while security audit is going on so we can kick off this process?
Well, I'm just thinking, you just said something like the security assessment is almost complete. Are there any things that are almost complete that we could just like finish?
I think what he means is that, like, to meet the requirements, there are some things that need to be done, which are a little bit separate.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think it's like because as we discussed before, we cannot open up an application in TOC officially. Before security audit is complete,
Right.
which means
Okay.
like we finish the adopters, like all of the adopters field application. Yeah, good.
Wait, hold on. You said you cannot open your application
Yeah.
until the security assessment is complete.
Yes, this is what we received from Karina, right?
Yeah, tell me what she said because
1 second.
I understand that wasn't the case previously, George, but I don't know if that's something's changed or not. Or if it's
because I remember the last time we asked, she was very much into like the security. Don't even open an application without the security application the
Okay,
security self-assessment, because
yeah, but
remember
saying
that was
not
supposed to
audit.
that was supposed to be done in the previous step before even moving to incubation. So that's kind of a
Yeah, I'm talking about this
here it is. Yeah.
this reply.
So to be clear, this security self-assessment is in our repo.
No,
Yes.
we can say this is complete. We can merge it today.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
No,
if you say it's complete,
Are we happy with it then? Looks like there's some discussion
yeah,
still.
I think so. This is complete. So we can say the thing is
Okay.
like if you open the link that I shared in the Zoom, this is a public channel, so everyone can just take a look. It's explicitly like we discussed that we need to complete the security audit, and I guess like the items needs to be addressed, but I guess like the security audit by itself needs to be complete before we can open application.
I'm just checking
Really?
things.
That sounds.
I'm just, yeah, I've found it.
Can you increase the font size on that? Sorry, I'm failing at Slack at this
Give me
current
a
time.
second. Give me a second. Yeah, I'm just zooming it, making sure nothing crazy appears on my screen when I do that. Yeah, there you go. And this was from July, so I don't know. Things might have changed.
Hold on, 'cause I'm still reading. Let me actually catch up on this thread. Give me a minute. Talk about something else.
Yeah, it's fine.
Because I almost want to be like, did you mean security audit or did you mean security self-assessment? Because for sure.
Well, I presume there isn't really such thing as a standard security audit, so you know what I mean. I can't.
Yeah, but it was the self-assessment that was really.
Also, this was before the whole shakeup of things, right? So I don't know, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
In any case, having it done is a requirement to graduate. So
Yes.
No, like my only things here, like because we're waiting for another company to do the work. I just want for us to move in parallel, and CNCF also like don't see that we have any blockers because we complete GTR, we complete self-assessment, we almost complete
Right.
open safe budgets, right? So we also like collect the adopters who are willing to give interviews to CNCF.
Yep.
So we fill the questionnaire, we go over like your issue template, so the application is ready basically. Our only question is like, is there any? Should we open the application or we should wait until the audit is complete?
I would first merge the self-assessment.
Okay.
Because that is the
is that
is
actually
the
the
thing
top
that we
priority?
can get. Yeah.
Let me just put that at the top.
And then the GTR you said was almost done.
Yeah. So I know, Valentina, like you've been working on some of the items, but if we feel that it's kind of complete, I can convert this to the doc, and we can gradually improve it right over time, right?
Right.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of the answers are very specific and maybe don't provide a lot of context. I think it will be. I've been adding more context and more description because sometimes the answer is just like one sentence, and I think it will be great, to add more information on this. So I added a lot of information on the first, I think, 2 pages. It's still a lot to review. So what I will do next maybe is just focus on at least, reviewing that information is there. But there were some like, they're talking about architecture, design principles, and then we answer about something else. So I think it still needs more review. That's my perception. So what I will do is I focus on reviewing and not writing, and then we go from there and see what's the current status. And that's just from my point of view. So I'm welcome everyone who wants to review it as well.
Yeah, for GTR, I also planning to send this to I mean, maybe before we convert this to the proposal, I will send this again to the Slack channel, George. So
yeah,
maybe
what I recommend is if you merge these 2 things, those are 2 major items that you have completed since the last time we've
We can't
asked.
you can't merge this one. What do you mean by merge this one?
No, I think the self-assessment.
Yeah, merge that and then kind of complete, say, call that the final draft or finalize, whatever it is. That's
Yep.
2 major items that they called out that we have
Okay.
sorted.
Yeah,
And then just be like, okay, we've got these 2 done.
mhm.
Now what? I don't want to say now what, but we would ask,
Yeah, can we open an application then? And we
yeah,
also
yeah. Now,
okay.
do you feel this is ready for the application?
Yep.
Can one of you tag me in that conversation?
Yeah, 1 second.
And if you don't mind, do you want me to be the one to say like, all right, we're about to finish these up?
Like, yeah, it just depends on what we're doing, right? Like, do what you want, but like, and we still need to do some things, right? And so it's a matter of is raising, like, how does the queue work? It's nice, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You don't want to ask how the queue works. Usually, yeah.
Is so if you say that someone just said in the chat the pipelines open SSF badge might be done, I don't think it's done, right?
Yep, that's true. The notebooks and pipelines have problems there, so they need to fix
Someone
it.
just said in the chat that it's not. It might be done. Let me just check. No, it's not done.
Yeah, no, Alex has been working on this batch, so
It needs to be showing that.
for the GTR, Matthew, this needs to be converted to the cap, sorry, to the doc, like similar to case.
Does it? I mean, probably.
Yes, because if you go to Keyserve community, they've done it before. We're getting feedback from them.
So wait, when you say where does it need to go to? Into their repo and our repo?
Our repo, and then I think they also need to go to CNCF repo. So this is an example from Keyserve.
Where are you saying this?
In-
Yeah, I mean, we can do whatever. I mean, I think there's still some content discussion that needs to happen, but yes. So I'll make a to-do item then.
Yeah, once I guess Valentina, you finish your points and
I think there's
CNCF.
a couple of content items we need to go through on there though that we like she can't do alone.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the questions need please. I am adding notes to just review them. It needs, yeah, the answers needs more work.
Okay, so so these 2 are definitely the top priorities, yes. The other ones are mostly complete, and I'm gonna say this one is currently in progress. I'm gonna say the to-do on this one is keep tabs meeting. I'm gonna say meeting this week with vendor. What timeline are we trying to give them?
End of August.
That seems
Or-
very soon.
Yes, that's true, because it's 5 weeks from the 2 weeks before this day. So we have this first thing on 1 second. On
Like
1st of
for first
August.
draft from them, or
Yeah, so 5 weeks from 1st of August, basically.
that's well, it's beginning of September then.
Yeah, first weeks of September, I guess. Right.
So have they actually? Are they going to meet that timeline? But we'll come back to
This
someone
is
else.
what we will discuss this Friday, right?
Okay,
And
cool.
yeah, it will be like long talk, like 40 pages that we need to review. But again, it's at least like we need to have this complete so we can move forward with graduation, right?
We need to just also make sure that they think they can actually meet that timeline.
Yeah. We'll discuss it this Friday. So
I'm just saying
sorry,
like, these are the items that we need to discuss.
yeah, thank you, Tarek. Definitely take a look. Like anyone who want to help us review the GTR, like General Technical Review doc.
So let's
please.
look through the current notes, right? So people hopefully have raised some notes. Which ones haven't? So that was just a discussion about accessing things. That's fine.
Yeah, like one of the things we need to change is the design principles.
This one?
Second, so it was a yes. This needs to be rewritten in a way that how we follow the cloud native design principles here.
I thought we did that later in here.
No, I think it's about security design principles, but here it's about
Let me just confirm. I'm pretty sure there was a one later on about design principles for cloud, but let me just check. Oh, threat modeling, maybe.
one of the examples. You can check the case here. Yeah.
No, my thoughts are, so a couple of things. If there is information that is on a link, if we just list the link, I feel like we are not providing, like if I need to justify myself, right, why I think this project does X, we need to describe it and not just provide a link, or even like, you know, provide like links to sessions. Like I don't think they will be like watching and reading. I don't know. I think the more we, it doesn't mean we cannot be succinct about information, but the answer needs to be there. So if they say like describe, it should be like you know, some explanation about how something works, and not just like it does this. So it's more about how it does it. So as much as we can provide, I think it will be best, because I haven't done this, but my assumption is if the information is not complete, it will be back to us, and then we are losing time. So the more information we can, you know, incorporate there, a link to a reference, I think is fine to, you know, to provide more details. But if there is a, so just invite everyone to review the questions and take, you know, specific attention into it when it says describe versus what it is. And then see if the answer is there. So just take the time to, you know, think, if someone doesn't know about our project, will they understand what is there in Brighton? So just because I noticed that pattern in some of the questions.
The link should be supporting what we are, because it says to explain the design principles.
Yeah, I agree.
Providing links is not an explanation. That's the support to the explanation. So, and I think I said that a couple of times earlier on in this document, that we need to be actually describing and explaining things rather than just providing links.
Also, this particular one, this doesn't even really support that link. Honestly, like this, I think what Andre is saying is that this one actually is a different concept. Like this is about how you contribute to the movement, not about how you do.
Yeah, the link that I shared in the Zoom chat.
Okay.
So you see, compare the native unified control plane, you're right.
I mean, some of them are obviously, in some sense, cloud native is defined by CNCF and Kubernetes, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we need to reiterate them here. So David or Listen, do you want to, like, you know, volunteer to take some of those tasks and rewrite them?
We can even do this one right now. Like this one's not particularly challenging. Or do you want to?
I just like want to speak about other things in the meantime, like, you know, maybe David or Listen, you know, can also work when I have time.
I can do some of those. Yeah.
So I'd say we just need to make sure that we cover the. Are these the bullet points? Do we agree on these at least, or is there another bullet point?
Yeah, we can have our own bullet points. It's fine. Like,
but then what bullet points are we gonna use? Or should we link this off somewhere as well? Like, no.
Yeah, I just suggest we propose something and then work, you know, offline on these items. It's like not.
Like my only concern is just how to do it in the context of the 6 projects or whatever it is.
It's fine. We can, you know, just generalize the points, right, around them. I think many of the, you know, these design principles apply for, you know, all of the Kubeflow projects.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I think like one of the also, I guess, blocking thinks it's OpenSF batch. So what about notebooks? Do we have any updates there?
I would have to ask Eder. I think there's some discussion. Yeah, I'd have to ask Eder.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, hey, Eder.
Yeah. It's about the badge, because I was also...
Yeah. About, like, because
I just came from the PTO and I didn't progress on that personally. I don't know, Matthew, someone did this MIUI.
I think the discussion is just around, like, obviously 1.0. They're doing some stuff that will improve it, but the actual UI for 1.0. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just around, we need to get at least, we need to just go through the scanned issues. That's what we need to do, right? And make sure that they're not critical ones. But even just having the process to set the scanning up might be sufficient. But yeah, well, we'll come back to you next week on that one, Andre.
Okay. Yeah, I think the major concern is about the UI, right, part, and what we will do with.
Yeah, I think for notebooks 1.0, yes. Yeah.
Did someone run the scan already or not yet? Because I don't have access for it.
I think you're the owner of Batch, isn't it, Eder?
No, I think he means yeah, I think we need to Eder and I just need to discuss because like what makes sense for notebooks doesn't make sense for other things. Like as we've said, there's notebook images that don't make sense to review in the same way as and so like we just need to agree that we're happy enough to certify the badge as being complete, I'd say. Or not complete, but passing. But going through the task. And the only one that's like kind of iffy is the closing critical vulnerabilities one.
Yeah, so my suggestion is like if something is out of scope, just explicitly mention this in OpenSF badge and add this to the comment, right?
Can you add a comment under it?
Yeah, you can add and every kind of
that's what I'm saying. We just need to agree. Eder and I just need to sync on that and agree on if there's actually something blocking it or not. You know what I mean? Like that's because also it is like notebooks 1.0 is gonna go away. So like not immediately, but like it is gonna go away. But so like I don't want to waste time on things that are like if it's like if we can just out of scope something, you're correct. Like again, but it's also dependent on us actually graduating at the end of this year. Like, is that actually gonna happen? Like
yeah, so again, I don't want again my feeling that if security audit is complete by in August, in the first week of September, I want us to be ready to move forward and don't have any blockers. So right now, pipelines and notebooks are the blockers. Like what we can do as a community to solve those blockers.
yeah, so like
I think if they are running a scan on the Y for both pipelines in the notebooks, we are going to find a bunch of issues there due to the deprecated libraries. And then we need, because I never saw those scans, and then you need to go item by item to see if there is really a security risk or is a false positive due to the deprecated libraries, but we are not using this piece of code, or we are going to upgrade this. Otherwise, this is not passing any scan. But I never saw this report. I just specifically for notebooks and the pipelines, but I work with this type of things on the past.
Yeah, and so again, we need to obviously be realistic about what's like. Again, the specific request is that you respond to known vulnerabilities, right? Responding can mean many things. So it's just a matter of making sure that we figure out what we haven't responded to, I guess.
Yes. But do you have this report already?
Well, I mean,
yeah, I think we do. I mean, even like in have dynamic analysis tool like with Dependabot, right? For example, like it can tell you like which libraries needs to be updated, right? Like and also I think Julius is running the CVs on the manifest repo when it shows like all of these CVs. So
because we don't run Dependabot on the Kubeflow right now.
I think we do actually.
For the front end.
Yes. So
or I'm asking because if I can see this report somehow, I can start to also take a look on those.
Yeah, we do. So we have like a bunch of them in the Kubeflow right now, and many of them because the libraries has not been updated for the front end. Yeah, I just think front end is the issue for all the Kubeflow projects right now. Could we say we kind of UI is out of scope?
Or you could say that it's not
like
well, like it's so.
Yeah, I think the question lies. Sorry.
No, you go.
Are we going to graduate Kubeflow central dashboard?
No, that's not.
No, central dashboard not part of graduation, but the problem with UI is everywhere. Like KT pipelines, notebooks, it has UI and it has problems with CVs there because it's not been updated for many years.
No, I understand, but we're not graduating because there is no way, for instance, for people to use the Kubeflow notebooks UI without Kubeflow central dashboard, right? For model registry, for instance, there is a standalone, but we keep updated there in the bot, and you do the same for notebooks 2.0. that are doing our work to keep everything updated. But
and the dashboard, to be clear, is going to get updated at some point, and we're working on some things. But yeah, there is issues with updating. But again, we're not talking about the dashboard anyway. Like, so my question is really, again, the security self-assessment says that you're any vulnerability that you're aware of, you patch. You know what I mean? And of course, like, that's complicated, but
at least what is easy to fix should be fixed.
If I have to guess on the front end for notebooks and the pipelines based on how the libraries are outdated, I'm sure that will be CVEs and security vulnerabilities that we'll not be able to fix without a big bump of all the dependencies.
Yep. Like even like the common web app needs to be updated to Angular, right? So it takes a lot of time. And right now I cannot fix, for example, Ktiv UI because Ktiv depends on the central common web app, and it is just the old like legacy Angular.
And to be
for that's why when you did the model registry and the notebooks, you thought, we create everything in isolation because it is easier for us to keep updated with the libraries for this.
There's also a debate longer term, Andre, like less about the graduation, that any kind of very basic UI might just be rolled into the workspaces UI, especially if it's
I understand. Again, I know this work that Tether is working on, and we've been discussing ML experience working group, right? That makes sense. I just want, if we want to get unblocked, can we say entire UI is out of scope?
I think you better, rather than saying out of scope, you could say that it is not the intended use for it to be assumed that you have untrusted input.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you kind of trust it. Makes sense.
Like it's more like you could say that it is a DMZ, if you know what I mean. Like that getting into the UI is meant to be secured by something which is documented, like OS2 proxy and stuff. But you're already trusting users to run arbitrary code mostly on the cluster. So like there isn't a lot. The only serious escalations that we need to prevent are ones that would enable jumping across profile boundaries.
But even profile is out of scope of graduation right now. So
I guess technically it is, yeah. So
like because my question as a project, because I don't given that I don't think it would be feasible to pass in any security scan by Kubeflow Center dashboard pipelines and also notebook for that time frame without a big refactoring.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is there options to just exclude those paths?
Yeah. We discussed this with security folks actually. So can we, ensure that, we say that you should trust users and, you should provide secure environment. This is on you. This is not on the community, at least for now, right? And in that case, like that will, tie to the consumers, right, to fix all those problems. So, and we just provide them a reference.
And these solutions will get better with the stuff we're working on. Like these aren't permanent problems, but
on the other hand, any company that is trying to adopt this will run a security scan on the top of the code base of the repository, and you get a lot of alarms due to this UI code that is.
Yeah, but they can decide, if it is not like feasible for them, they can, build their own UI for notebooks, for example, they can only notebook controller, or they can only use KFP SDK without UI, like what Google is doing, right? For example, or like I think Red Hat is also doing the same, right?
Yeah, for the KFP, yes, for now.
Yeah. So George, do you see any kind of blockers for us if we kind of assume this to unblock at least us to move forward?
Oh man, I hope not, is my answer.
Well, we need to review the specific again, like if we read the specific requirement to certify this, right? It is things that have been publicly known. And again, a vulnerability does not necessarily mean a CVE. It means an actual vulnerability in the app, right? And you could argue that some CVEs in packages lead to this, but not all.
Yes. But we need to go item by item. But there is a big risk that will be some CVEs that applies for us, like one, because usually this works like when I do this audit with old code at Red Hat when
but a mitigation
code the basis.
place.
Yes, but the thing is that there is the 95% are false flags, but the 5% are the worst ones. That is something that affects our code base, our front-end code base, and we need to fix if you look at this. And those are the ones that will requires a big dependency bump of everything, usually.
And there's currently nothing open, right?
So
Because I'm leaning towards,
like, again, technically speaking, yeah, it's complicated, right? It's ambiguous slightly as to whether a dependency is or is like, if we're a normal project, you would suspect that, you know, if we depend on a package that has a vulnerability and then we look at it and it's not in the critical code path, like, it's a question as to the specifics of the vulnerability as to whether it's actually a vulnerability in Kubeflow.
Yep.
I think the main thing we need to do to achieve this is just that we need to have a way to categorically review these things, right? And we, since we don't, like, the problem is these scans constantly come up, right? There's new CVs being reported every day. So like the question is, do we have like an acknowledge button? You know what I mean? Like, because I know that on like the FOSSA, like scanning for license we do, but we don't have one for this.
You can do this in Dependabot as well. You can say like, you know, this, yeah.
Yeah, on the model registry, you have the Dependabot send the pull request and you review the pull request like every week.
That's
Mateo
not
So
and
I
I.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
If you, yeah, go, no.
Couple of points. So for the Dependabot, you can do that one, but also like for the code scanning that was recently enabled for the repos, you get some of those CV report to say, oh, it's like this third-party dependency library has this CV problem. It's like if you're not using that feature from that library and that applies only to that environment, you can actually flag that CV report to say, in this report, we are not in this repo, we are not using that feature of that library, and therefore this CV is false. For example, there was one library from Python that only works with Pyodide for WASM, and we are not making use of that. So that is a CV that's sort of like false positive because it's like or like you know, false negative depending on how you see it, because simply we don't make use of it. So at least for the both Dependabot and also the code scanning in the GitHub, you can add a reason why it's not the case, and as well for the fossilized scanning, as Matthew was mentioning earlier. Sorry.
Yeah, Mateo, but Mateo is totally right, but I want to highlight that this is a work that needs to be done like every week. Is Mateo and myself taking a look on the Dependabot release and this sort of stuff. If you put like some sort of code scan analysis on the Kubeflow right now for the UI, will come tons of issues.
Well,
and as Matthew said, you're going to need to go over one by one.
We just need to have a process, right? I can see that, like, I think so I guess we just need to agree as a project what is the minimum as a project that we would accept from a sub-project. I think having image scans, then having a way to catalog them, right? And say yes, no. And so GitHub seems to have that, like that you get acknowledged, you know, you can acknowledge them.
Yep.
Obviously, if users raise a specific CVE against us, then that needs to be addressed or responded to. But I think the issue is just we don't have a central place that we agree that we're following. Like once every 2 weeks, whatever, we bug scrub through them. You know what I mean? Like that's the part that we're trying to.
Yeah, it's a working group responsibility should be, right? And the project owners, right? Responsibility.
We do need to enable all the working groups, though. Is what I'm saying. Like.
So I mean, similar to Mateo, like we've been doing this for training operator for a while, right? Like to update the packages. So I think this again, as Cesar said, like this will take time, and I think like to unblock us for graduation, I feel like we should make this exception for UIs, right? And say like UI needs to be trusted, and you should configure this environment. It's your responsibility, not us. Our responsibilities for at least for now. And then we can at least iterate on this slowly, right?
So the only truly publicly known ones are ones that come from public dependencies, right? And it's just like, we just need to make sure that there isn't any, right? like, it's not that hard to go through the code scanning. I think we might even be able to add more apps, right, to the GitHub code scanning.
Yeah, Matthew, the issue on the front end is that some vulnerabilities are only fixed because we use the old versions of the libraries. Some vulnerabilities will require a major version upgrade, a major version bump on the
Maybe
front
we
end.
might be able to mitigate it though, but like.
Oh yes, yeah, but this is not
if it's actually in the critical
straightforward.
path. Yeah.
Oh yes, yes. This part I agree. Yeah.
It's like what I'm saying is also Sonar Cloud's quite good. I'm not saying we should use this particular vendor, but this might be one that we could use because I know that you can acknowledge and you can connect them into. I'm not going to open the security page on repos, but like these will get reported in here, and we can use GitHub as the place to accept or deny the issue, right?
I don't think it's a problem of accepting or denying. I think it's a problem for people who do the work. I think the problem is
fixing.
Yeah,
sure, but we don't even have a place to go. Like, where could I go right now to see the list?
You go to Kubeflow. It's like
I mean, I don't want to show it on the recording, but you know what I mean.
No, but I mean, yeah, I can give Heather right access to the repo, and Heather will see all of them, right? Like,
That's what I'm saying, but that's the process, yes. But we need to agree that that's the process, and then we can say yes as long as we have met the requirement, which is 60 days.
As for now, for graduation, we agreed on this already.
Okay, but
we
then
agreed that this is the process for us to follow. We have the security.md in every project we graduate. And the project, we have these security guidelines, what we follow.
But that's not what this is. Like, we need to be able to say yes to this. And to be able to say yes to this, we need to have no publicly disclosed security vulnerabilities that are more than 60 days.
Yes, and I mean, and as I said, like if we put a UI out of scope for the projects, do we have any, CVs?
I don't think it's possible to do, right?
So I suggest we do this, like, because I don't see any other options for us to move forward.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, if we are looking for a release in the next 2 months to move forward with this, like in the next 2 months, this is the only option, unfortunately. I don't see this being fixed without a big refactoring, I would say, especially due to the libraries that we have. Because, yeah, but we can always take a look. This is just my guess based on other security reports that I faced in the past for the UI.
What's interesting is this comment here, by the way. Some projects are part of larger umbrella organizations or larger projects, possibly in multiple layers in me. Many of the projects feed their results into other organizations and projects as part of the potential complex supply chain. An individual project cannot control the rest, but an individual project can work to release a vulnerability patch in a timely way. Therefore, we solely focus on the individual project's response time. This may not even, as long as they're, you know what I'm saying? Like this is, some of our dependencies are not us, but they might be patched upstream. That's the
yeah.
Like if they are patched upstream.
I think this when I read this one on the notebooks, my understanding on this means in summary is like if there is a patch from a project for a vulnerability that is known by the community, we should patch our code base or justify, like Matteo put on the sample here that we do for Model Registry. But again, this is a work that even it is a thing that Matteo is leading and I help him on the why, that either you do this every week in a sustainable pace or is months of work.
Yep, that's right. So, I mean, if we don't have anyone here on the call who volunteer to, fix all those front-end issues in the next month, my only option is for us to put this out of, as the trusted, at least work on this in the future, not right now as part of graduation, so we don't get really blocked on this.
Yeah. Andrea, I just want to mention this. I'd like to hear from Matteo because the Model Registry is patched. And Katib as well, right?
No, Katib has the same problem because Katib,
but Model Registry is on a good in a good shape.
Yeah, because Model Registry has its own UI, right? And you can easily, update packages, right? Pipelines has the same problem. Pipelines in the V1, I don't think they have cycles to update UI, at least from my discussions with them. So it's
I know that some folks from the pipelines, they approached me last week to ask about how we do in Model Registry, how we design this, and maybe they are working to remediate this in future.
So the minimum that we can do though is have a place where we track all the known CVEs, because internally at least, right?
Yeah, and I think for now, as we agree in the community, before we use GitHub, at least for now.
That's for ones that are disclosed to us, sure. but for ones that are scanned, like we just need to have the scan set up correctly.
Yeah. So do we have an issue? I linked this in the Zoom chat that we should have like enabled agree on the tool where it's Trivy or what else like the.
Can we get Trivy to actually load its logs into, because like I can see that Julius put a thing in
the manifest, right?
Yeah, but like, does this upload itself into the security tab of this? I don't want to open
It does upload. I think it uploads Trivy scanned results, so it doesn't upload here, but within Git, so you can see all the executions.
Wouldn't we want that to be not super public though? But yeah, okay. Because what I'm saying is we need to be able to dismiss specific ones, right? And then also make available, because the idea is that you make a CV publicly known to say update because it's got this problem, the old one, right?
I mean, in practice, you would probably in the Trivy configuration would say ignore the CV.
Is because this is the is Trivy in here? Yeah, Trivy's in here. We should configure this, whichever one we're going to use.
Yeah.
We should configure it in GitHub itself so that it actually shows up in the GitHub thing.
So again, yeah, Dependabot is already scanning the packages.
That's dependencies though, not CVEs.
Not CVs, but Trivy can report them.
But we're not connecting. What I'm saying is like you need to actually connect.
We can connect them. Yes, we can connect.
So that because then we have a place to go through them, and we agree that if your working group isn't going through them, then you're not. You can tick yes if you are. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like the goal is to get us to the point where we can say yes on that list. So we can say some projects are not security patched anymore or something, or we can also say.
Yeah, Matthew, but see the next bullet point. Like the project should fix all critical vulnerabilities rapidly after they are reported on the list.
Yes.
The first one is that
of course, it has to be medium or higher, right? So just because the dependencies vulnerability might be a 10, it might be 0 to us because it might literally not be in the code path. You know what I mean? So like the CVE, it says here you're allowed to change the security. It might not be the upstream reported one. It says because if it literally is irrelevant.
No, yeah, but this is the happy case that should be the most of them. But for those that we know that affect us, we need to fix this.
Sure.
That's the next bullet point.
That's critical, right? Yeah. I mean, critical is. Yeah, but all I'm saying is, I think we should.
Also, it's a should. So it's like at least the second bullet point is more lax than the first one.
Yeah, that's true. Must versus should in the legal sense.
So yeah. So, but it's like also just one thing because I think that it's like there might be some misconception maybe at times. Is like what I like about Dependabot in addition to Trivy. Trivy is very good also as well for images that you depend on that sort of like incorporate. The thing is that if you manage Dependabot regularly, it's like those are the dependency that eventually, if you don't have the CVE, if you instead of getting the CVE from Trivy, you're getting it earlier from Dependabot. It's sort of like you are shipping that kind of like dependency through your image, and sort of like that is like if they report a CVE through the library, you're getting it from Dependabot first before you actually ship it in an image. I think this is also needs to be accounted for.
I mean, however we do it, if we agree that the source of truth for ones that we need to go through is the GitHub security tab for each working group, Julius, are your scans currently going into it using like something like this, where you upload it into the security tab?
What exactly do you mean?
So like you sent a link before?
Yes, sir. Yeah, to the Trivy scans, and I think the last part of the workflow is uploading the
But is it uploading it into Git? It's uploading it as an artifact. It's not actually uploading it into, because we don't really want it to just be an artifact either from a security reason. Like getting it into the security tab is probably the best way to then say, yes, we are in the tick. Of course, that's not manifests are not a component. So it would need to be in the images that they're coming from, you know what I mean? But
yeah, we should enable this for every sub-project. And I think I linked the issue where we agree, like whether we use Trivy or...
And are we using Trivy or Sonar Cloud or what are we using? You know, like that's...
Yep. So issue 885. So
885.
can we just, vote and agree
on which one? On what repo?
On community 885, right?
Okay, let me check. Again, it's up to each working group, but maybe we can suggest, right?
No, I think it's not up to each one. I think so we should enforce the rules to make it as consistent. How? Because again, for those type of things, I think we should
Is Trivi the right one? Is it sufficient?
If we agree as a community is yes, then we should use Trivi everywhere for every 6 projects, right?
What does Trivi scan code as well, not just images? Well, this is not that helpful. So there was a discussion here about sync.
Yeah, but again, I don't think it's a blocker, right? The blocker is for now.
So we need to get that integrated, right?
No,
for the
no.
ones that
So
we're graduating,
it's
so
not
they can.
it's not part of OpenSSF batch. It's a thing we should do for the long term, and this I think require for GTR and for many other reasons. But it's not blocker for OpenSSF batch.
Well, it means that if we go through them, like we set the scan up and then we go through each of them manually, the 2 working groups which are there, we can get a list of the ones that we actually need to address.
No, but I think Sneak will, so it will print you exactly the same. That's
I'm not saying Trivia or not, whatever. But I'm just saying like
Trivia prints you exactly the same that Dependabot is printing you like for CVs.
But it also just, what I'm saying is it's not printing. It's about loading it into the tab so that we can then go through them and say, yes, no, is it actually a vulnerability for this project or not? And if it is, then we need to address it.
But I think you already can do this even without Trivia.
Okay. Well, GitHub itself will scan some things, but like, there might be some things we missed. Because all we're trying to do is get to the point where we can publicly attest that we are doing this, right? And the way to do that is to have people reporting vulnerabilities, we acknowledge and fix them. And then if there is if we care about our dependencies, then we also need to acknowledge any CVEs reported against them and check whether they're real or not for us. And mitigate, if not patch. Because again, sometimes we can't update, but we might be able to mitigate the issue. Like say the issue is regex parsing of some random Python library. Maybe we just don't use that library anymore or something.
Yeah, so again, anyway, I guess like, notebooks working group should, whether you can go through those lists and just, decline them. In the Kubeflow notebooks, that is why, again, we should, merge the code to the new repo. So depending on what runs on the correct repo. And, then I guess like we should make a decision within 2 weeks what we can do there, right? My suggestion is to say UI is, we're working on this, but it's not kind of, right, what is a blocker for us, right? To graduate.
But we still need to be able to say we've met this, even for non-UI components, we need to have gone through the list.
Yeah. So, I mean, for other projects, we already have done it, right?
Well, I mean, has pipelines though? Because I think part of the issue was not just the UI and pipelines. It was like the back end of the API of the UI.
Yeah, pipeline. So I know Alex is working on SDK vulnerabilities, right? For V1.
And that's something. Is he going through the GitHub list or is he doing it somewhere else?
Yeah, so I think they have their own scanning as well. And I think they're also going through the GitHub list. So
we should just let's just try and standardize. That's all I'm trying to say. Like so that we can then attest publicly.
Yeah. Even I think pipelines already kind of complete this as I can see. No?
Not on those 2. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to. I'm not going to open it on
it's
them.
unmet. Yeah, publicly known vulnerabilities. So right, yes. Okay. Anyway, so any other thoughts from the community, like what we should do there to get us unblocked?
Well, let's go back to this one, right? So the GTR.
Yeah,
there was one that we didn't.
We will work in sync.
There was one that we didn't do, though, right? Are we going to do this FOSSA thing?
Yes, the FOSSA one.
So we haven't done that. So that's the last. There's 2 ones, right? There's security stuff in this. That's pretty much the only. And some notes.
Can someone volunteer to take this work and enable FOSSA for every of these 6 projects?
I think it's more about onboarding people, right?
Yeah, but we should also enable the GitHub action, right?
If you want, Andrea, I can sort of like take on this one, sort of like a pester somebody from each working group about making sure that they onboard to FOSSA and help on them to the GitHub action that do this FOSSA scan.
Is it a GitHub action?
Yeah, you have a GitHub action that you can use it to sort of like have this reported.
Is this normal to have the key publicly?
Yeah, actually, I've made a link to the documentation where they say, yes, this is the way that you are expected to use.
Very strange.
Yeah, it's a push only, right?
Okay.
Yeah, we should just copy paste this section that model registry has on for other repos, right?
But
And
we
I
need to
guess
actually make the target on the other side, I think, get a key, right?
yeah. And who's the owner of Fossa?
Is it a key or is it, how does this work?
So what you do is that you onboard in the Kubeflow organization on Fossa, you create a project for sort of like your repo, then you get this key that is push only, and then you enable it in the GitHub action.
How does this work from like a security perspective? Because like other people could just fork the repo and accidentally push.
So other people know, because I think that actually what happens is that this is checking that this is originating from a GitHub action, if I recall correctly. Sorry, from a GitHub action from your own code. Sort of like, because you set up what is the project that you're expecting on Fossa, where is the repo for that project?
Who knows? Okay, whatever.
Well,
yeah.
I just applied by the letter of the documentation, and I made the comment of the documentation because, and by the way, this is also what other projects in CNCF are doing. So
do we need to create a new token? How does this work? Or can we, I'm assuming we can't use the same token.
So no, we cannot use the same token. So what we need to do is that we need to go to Fossa. We need to find one responsible person per each working group. This, or sort of like we create this project on their behalf. By creating the project on Fossa under the Kubeflow organization in Fossa, then you get the key, and therefore you can set up the GitHub action.
Okay, so which projects are not onboarded right now? Which ones aren't?
Of the graduation, I think most of them, but
I think for 5 of them they don't have. So who is the owner of the Fossa account?
CNCF.
no, we have a split ownership because we have in there myself.
Oh, we have a team, right? We have a team.
Yeah, we have an org. So we have myself, Matthew, Ricardo, and Steph. If I recall.
So Matteo, can you add all? I can give you a link of people you can add them there.
Can we add people, or do we need the CNCF to approve them? I thought. Let me just check. I'm just logging in on a separate thing. A second.
I can follow up on this one.
Yeah,
because we might need the CNCF to do it.
Okay.
We're pretty much over time. I'm just logging into this thing. Give it a quick.
Yeah, for now, Matteo, I just send this issue to you and just just follow up. I understand how we can add more people there, right?
I can add people, but I think they have to have already been onboarded to Fossa.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we need to get we need to send the CNCF through the thing, probably a list of people to onboard, Andre. So like.
So do we need to create a service desk ticket or how?
That's I would imagine so. Yes.
Okay.
So the people who have already been onboarded there's only 4 in the Kubeflow team. So like here's the I just posted it in the chat. Here's the team that I don't know if you're in. Wait, are you on Fossa, Andre?
No, I don't have access there.
Okay, because we need to get so I can, because we can add people to the Kubeflow team, and then once you're in the project, in the team, you can add a project, I think, right, Matteo?
Okay.
Correct.
The first step is to get people onboarded. So I guess that's the next step there. So let me just add that.
Yeah, I will create service desk ticket and I will also, I guess.
So onboarding all maintainers to Fossa license scanning and adding them to Kubeflow team and creating a project Okay, so scan results. Where's your model registry one again? Let me just add this link here, I guess. Let me just.
Yes, since we're over time, any last questions from folks? I guess Josh, we're waiting from you, right, to give us thumbs up to move forward. And
yeah,
I think
I posted in the Slack. We'll see what people say.
All right, sounds
Cool.
good.
Is there any other things we need to go through on the DTR on the call?
No, it's fine. No, I think let's do it. I think. I really appreciate
my brain is melting at this point. So
Cool.
Okay. I'll stop the recording.
thanks, y'all. This is amazing. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah, great progress.